All right, so are you ready for this?
Always. Let's dive in.
Today we're going deep on Chris Bumstead,
Probum.
pre-bum. Mr. Olympia 6 times over.
6-time champ. Yeah, can you believe this guy just retired?
Yeah, and like still young, right? I mean, 29.
It's crazy, right? I mean, you don't really see that very often, especially in bodybuilding. An athlete just walking away at the peak of their career like that.
Yeah, and on top, undefeated. So, like, so many questions. What made him so dominant for so long? What made him decide to step down? And, you know, everyone's wondering, what's next for classic physique without him?
Yeah, well, to really get Klebum, you have to get classic physique. It's not just about size, right?
Yeah.
It's this balance, this aesthetic, the muscularity. And Sebum, I mean, he just kind of embodied all of that.
He did. He became, like, the definition.
Yeah.
8 Mr. Olympias, 6 wins. I mean, that's a record that's going to be tough to beat.
For sure. It's going to take someone really special to even come close.
I was reading about his last competition prep, and he talked about getting into this, like, flow state.
Oh, interesting.
Where it became more like art than bodybuilding.
That's deep.
Right.
I mean, that flow state, that's that peak performance.
Yeah.
It's when you're so in the zone that everything just clicks. Effortless, you know?
Yeah.
And you can see it right in his physique on stage, that artistry, that level of detail, that balance. It's incredible.
Okay, can we talk about the 2024 Olympia for a second?
Oh, man. What a show.
Everyone was expecting, like, the ultimate showdown, right? Hebum, Wesley Vissers, Ramon Corros. It was supposed to be epic.
Yeah, everyone thought it was going to be like a battle for the ages.
But then out of nowhere, Mike Sommerfeld comes in and almost takes the title.
3 points. 3 points.
Can you believe it?
That was so intense. It just shows you how competitive classic physique has become. It's anyone's game at this point.
Yeah, and you've got Urs Kalaczynski coming in 3rd, Ramon Corros in 4th. I mean, the whole landscape is changing.
Totally. It's like, what happens when the king steps down? Does it create a void? Does someone else rise up?
So why retire now? He's 29. He's at the top of his game. I mean, he even said a little bit of my fire was gone. What do you think he meant by that?
You know, it sounds like maybe his priorities have shifted. Maybe winning just isn't everything anymore. You know, maybe it's about like finding new challenges or focusing on different things that make him happy. Or maybe after all these years of competing at that level, he just needs a break.
Yeah. Well, the good news is he's not disappearing completely. He's going to keep doing his YouTube channel, documenting his journey.
Oh, for sure. And that's where things get really interesting. Kabum has this platform. He connects with people, and not just about training and diet. He's talking about mindset, self-improvement, you know, finding fulfillment.
Yeah.
And that message, that's powerful stuff. It goes way beyond bodybuilding.
So with Klebum stepping down, the big question is who's going to fill those shoes?
That's what everyone wants to know.
Right.
Well, if you want a glimpse into the future of classic physique, watch the 2025 Arnold Classic. It's going to be huge.
Wide open, yeah.
Yeah, totally up for grabs.
Even Sebum said Classic Physique is the greatest division in the IFBB Pro League and that someone special will take his place.
He's even upping the prize money for the next Classic Physique Olympia. I mean, that shows you how much he believes in this division.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So we've talked about Klebum's dominance, this surprise retirement, and the future of Classic Physique. But what about Klebum, the person? What's next for him? We know he's going to keep doing YouTube, but what else?
Well, he's a smart guy, a real entrepreneur. He's got his own supplement company, a clothing line.
Right.
I think it's safe to say he's going to keep building his businesses. And he's always been really open about his passion for mental health.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see him do more with that, like motivational speaking or coaching. Who knows? The possibilities are endless.
He's only 29. Think about how much he's already accomplished.
I know, right? It's pretty mind-blowing. Who knows what he's going to do next?
He's already left his mark on the bodybuilding world, inspired a whole generation of athletes, not just with his physique, but his whole approach to the sport.
Yeah, and like you said before, his message is bigger than bodybuilding. He's shown that success isn't just about winning, it's about pushing your own boundaries, finding your flow.
Right.
And defining success on your own terms.
He might be stepping off the competition stage, but his impact, his legacy is far from over.
Definitely. And it's going to be really cool to see how he uses his platform to do even more, you know, shape the world beyond bodybuilding.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, one thing I've always noticed about Sebum, he's so open about the mental side of bodybuilding.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't shy away from the hard part.
It's not something you see a lot of, right? especially in a sport where it's all about pushing through, never showing weakness.
Right.
Think about it. The pressure to be lean, like all year round, extreme dieting, the training, it's got to take a toll.
Whoa,
and Kibum's been really honest about his struggles with, body image stuff and the mental challenges of competing at that level.
Yeah. It's really refreshing.
Yeah.
Challenges that no pain, no gain thing that's so big in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
He's showing that, it's okay to not be okay, to struggle, to put mental well-being first.
Right. It's such an important message.
It is.
And I think that's a big reason he connects with so many fans. He's not just some, perfect, untouchable icon. He's a real person.
Yeah. He's relatable.
Exactly.
It makes him, human, approachable.
Totally. And it also sends a message that, you don't have to sacrifice your mental health to reach your goals.
Right. Speaking of goals, let's talk about C-Bum's impact on classic physique, the division itself.
Yeah, he's the blueprint, right?
Yeah.
When it first started, nobody really knew what the ideal physique was going to be.
Yeah.
And then Kibum comes along with his, the size, the symmetry, those classic lines. He set the standard.
He did. And his success brought a whole new wave of athletes into the division. Guys who wanted to look like that.
It totally raised the bar.
The level of competition is insane now.
Yeah.
Look at the 2024 Olympia. Sommerfeld almost beat him.
I know.
That wouldn't have happened a few years ago.
Classic physique is stacked with talent now. It's really impressive.
So with Kibum retiring, it's going to be interesting to see how it all evolves, Will it stay true to those aesthetic principles that Kibum championed? The proportion, the lines? Or will it become more about size and mass?
Right. It's this philosophical debate in the bodybuilding world about what classic physique is all about. Some people say it should be about the balanced aesthetic look.
Right.
Others say, well, bigger is always better.
Yeah.
It's got to evolve to stay relevant. But ultimately, I think it comes down to the athletes,
Yeah.
They're the ones pushing the boundaries, redefining what it means to have a classic physique.
It's such an exciting time for bodybuilding. We're at the start of a new era with all these new athletes ready to make their mark. It's a transition, but it's also a huge opportunity.
I can't wait to see what happens next.
Me too. We've talked about Kibum's impact on mental health and bodybuilding.
Yeah.
His influence on the classic physique division and the possibilities for what he does next. But there's one more piece. Kibum's legacy outside of bodybuilding.
Yeah, that's a big one.
He's a cultural icon at this point.
He is.
A role model. And it's not just because of, his physique or titles. It's something more.
It's his personality, his values, his message of being true to yourself.
Right.
He's built a brand that's way bigger than bodybuilding.
So
entrepreneur, influencer, mental health advocate, and it's only going to grow now.
It's amazing, right? To think of the impact he's already had and what he could do in the future.
I know.
He's changed bodybuilding. And now he has the chance to do that on an even bigger scale.
Exactly. It's really inspiring, It shows the power of using your platform to do something bigger than yourself.
Absolutely. Kibum's not just an athlete. He's a leader.
He is.
An inspiration. And his story's not over yet. So we've talked about a lot. Kibum's incredible career, that surprise retirement, what it means for classic physique. And, his impact on everything, really.
It's been a pretty wild ride.
It has. So before we wrap up, what are some of the things you think people should take away from all of this?
I think one of the big things is that success isn't, a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Right.
Kibum, he did amazing things in bodybuilding, but he also shows us that there's more to life than just trophies and titles, right? He took care of himself mentally and physically. He followed his passions, built this platform where he can connect with people in a real way.
Yeah, and it's a message that goes beyond bodybuilding. It's about figuring out what matters to you, what makes you happy.
Exactly, and then going after it on your own terms.
He was really intentional about everything, in the gym and outside of it. And I think that's a big part of why he was so successful.
Yeah, totally. And, his retirement, it's a good reminder that things change. Everything changes.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding's always evolving. New guys come up, new trends. You got to adapt, you got to grow, just like Scabum did.
It's the end of an era, but also a new beginning. It'll be interesting to see what happens next, who steps up.
For sure.
But even though he's not competing, his legacy, it's going to keep inspiring people.
Absolutely. That dedication, that work ethic, that mindset. And, he's made it okay to talk about mental health, to be vulnerable.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, I have one last question. Kibum's definition of success, focusing on growth, mastery, not just winning. How does that make you think about your own goals?
That's a great question. And if you want to keep up with Kibum, I definitely recommend checking out his YouTube channel.
Oh, for sure.
He's going to keep sharing his journey, his insights, training, nutrition, mindset, all of it.
Yeah. He's inspiring, and I think we're going to keep seeing amazing things from him.
I think so too.
And that's our deep dive into the legacy of Chris Bumstead. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep learning, keep growing, keep being your best self.